Does your boards matter for IPMAT? Can you get rejected because of a bad boards percentage? We are going to talk about how boards play three main roles in the case of IPMAT. Number one, eligibility. If you have less than 60%, you cannot apply for, say, IIM Ranchi. You could still apply for IIM Indore. Check this link, put your details, you'll find if you're eligible or not. It's completely free. Number two, interviews. If a student comes in front of a professor and says, "Sir, ma'am, I had 96 in 10th, 94 in 12th, the impression that it gives about the student is top-notch. If you come with a lower percentage, the first impression might not be the best. But people with 70s and 80s have still managed to go into IIM Indore. How do they justify this? The professors will ask you questions from your 11th and 12th syllabus. Answer them properly and you're good to go. You can check out the interview transcripts and the type of questions that have been asked. Number three is the explicit weightage. I want you to treat this table as a DILR set. Indore has no 10th and 12th weightage. That means you could have bad 10th and 12th, make sure your interview goes well, make sure your written exam goes well, and you'll probably be good to go. There are IPM students at IIM Indore who scored 60s, 70s, 80s in board exams. No issues. Looking at Shillong's 10% weightage to 10th and 12th, it's very minimal. Even if you have bad 10th and 12th scores, you have to compensate that not with the exam, but rather by the interview. Interview holds 50% weightage. It is more important than the exam itself. So you could even have a low IPMAT Indore score such that you clear the cutoffs of Shillong, and then you just need to make sure that the interview is fantastic. They even ask you for SOPs and the interview revolves around that too. And I was explaining this to one student and he was like, "Oh, so bhaiya, jisme number zyada hai, usme zyada weightage hoga." Yes, that's literally how this system works. Coming to Ranchi's 13% to 10th and 7% to 12th, it is one of the colleges that reveals how it converts the 10th and 12th percentage into the 13 points and the 7 points. This is the table. If you score more than 90% in 10th, it's 13 out of 13. If you score 85 to 90, it is 11 out of 30. So they have different slabs for each. Now I'm going to make a comparison of someone who has scored above 90 and someone who is in between 85 to 90. Because a lot of you are asking, should I fill this particular form if I have low boards? Let us now calculate and find out how much of a disadvantage you would be in. So imagine you scored 190 out of 360 in IPMAT Indore and you scored above 90 in 10th and 12th. We need to convert 190 by 360 as equal to x by 65 and you get 34.3. 10th and 12th is full marks, so you get 13 and 7. The total is 54.3 out of the 85 points. Now interview mein you can get full marks, you can also get 0 marks. Professors have given both. Now that is up to you. Now imagine someone got the same 190 marks in IPMAT but got 86% in 10th and 12th. For the 10th and 12th components, they're going to get 11 points and 6 points respectively. So that's a deficiency of 3 points. And how much is this 3 points worth? How much extra would they have to score in IPMAT Indore? So you can apply this formula and you will get the answer as 16.61. That means you need 16.61 marks more in order to compensate for the lack of 3 points. And that's a lot, right? And that is why we do not see general male candidates who have less than 80% in 10th and 12th get into IIM Ranchi. And if you do want to get in, you need a very good IPMAT Indore score, at which point you have more chances in IIM Indore as compared to IIM Ranchi. But if you're a female candidate, you get 5 points more. And your 51.3 can become a 56.3. And that is why in the IPM 2025 batch that has 60 students, you will see 40 girls and 20 boys. Honestly, this calculation should be made into a DILR set only. So long story short, if you have less than 80 and you're a general male candidate, Ranchi is improbable, not impossible. Now, if you belong to other categories, then the entire equation shifts. You have a high chance regardless, so apply to every place that is financially feasible and make sure to focus on the controllable variables like the interview, like the exam, and maximize your scores. Rohtak gives 10% to 10th and 20% to 12th. So if you have less than 80% as a general candidate, the chances are improbable, not impossible, but again, very unlikely. So if you want to save your money by not filling up the 5,000 rupee form, well and good. But if you can afford the 5,000, it's not a financial problem. Write the exam for the experience of it, for the interview experience of it. This can be a very good mock. And because the Rohtak interview could remove your pressure, the interview at Indore might be better. बहुत सारी चीज हो सकता है. So think from all the perspectives. Now, Amritsar might be your best friend if you scored bad in 10th and 12th because they do not look at 10th and 12th. They have 70% to the exam, 25% to the interview, 5% for general diversity. So आराम से exam follow, interview ठीक से दे दो, you're good to go. You could have 61% in 10th, 61% in 12th. If your interview goes well and they're not judging you for scoring so low, then you're sorted. You might also see that most people who join an IIM have a really good 10th and 12th. That is because of a thing called correlation. If someone is able to answer 11th and 12th के questions अच्छे से in the interview, that means they were able to answer it really well in the board exams too. Majority of the cases, there's a high correlation of this. Moving on to Jammu, last year they had 100% weightage to just the exam. No interview, no 10th, 12th weightage. This year, they've given 15% to 10th and 15% to 12th. We do not know how that might impact things, but anyways, you need to fill up the IPMAT form because Bodh Gaya over here is your best friend. 100% weightage to the actual exam. No interview, no 10th, 12th, and there are no extra diversity points. You do have some seats that are reserved for girls, and you could see the differences in the cutoffs. In the case of general, it was still 290 for girls and boys, so it did not really make a lot of sense there. उनका system ऐसा है कि up to 30% of the seats are reserved for female candidates. Up to 1% भी हो सकता है, 30% भी हो सकता है. That is dependent on the existing pool of students. Next we have Sirmaur, and you can see the weightages. Again, because the waiting list movement for Sirmaur moves a lot, even with a lower percentage in 10th and 12th, you do have a chance of getting in, so do not worry too much. Lastly, we have Kozhikode, and it is pretty interesting. Unlike Indore, where you just need to score the cutoff or about a cutoff and you'll be called for an interview, Kozhikode does not have a cutoff score for the exam itself. They have a mixture of 10th, 12th and the exam. They make a composite score and that is the cutoff. And ladies and gentlemen, they give the highest weightage to 10th and 12th in the first round, which is 60% weightage. So most people who have less than 85% are not going to be qualified. If you're a general candidate, are not going to be qualified for the interview round. Bhul jao. There was an informal anonymous survey conducted among the BMS students, and majority, almost all of the batch, was above 85%. Now, in the interview, for the final selection, they have a new weightage system. And in that case, they give 70% weightage to the exam, 25% to the interview, and then they have 5% for diversity. In the final selection, they do not consider your 10th and 12th. So now this is a very interesting mix. So moral of the story is look at this table, use your brains, and apply accordingly. I hope I was able to shed some light as to how much impact your 10th and 12th score can have here. If not IPMAT, in CAT, your 10th and 12th scores do play a very big role because 1-2 points can make or break your final admission in the top MBA colleges of India. So your 10th and 12th marks are important. But at the same time, if you're scoring 91% in 12th, don't get disheartened कि भाई 95 नहीं आया, 96 नहीं आया. In most of the cases, 91 is treated as the same as 99. But instead of putting all this effort to go from a 91 to a 99, put the same amount of effort to take your IPMAT Indore scores from a 180 to a 240. That would be a lot more useful to you. And lastly, it takes a lot of effort to make these data-driven, data-backed videos. And I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe. It motivates us to make more videos for you. And at the end of the day, we are chronically online. Koi bhi doubt hai, comment karo. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Tada, bye-bye, and all the best for your boards.
Preparing for IPMAT can feel like getting lost in a forest. They'll tell you, just read newspapers. ये ऐसे ही हो जाएगा.
What to do, where to begin, what to practice.
Well, Afterboards has broken down IPMAT into 29 topics with 4 difficulty levels. It starts with basic questions, so you don't give up. If you get it wrong, learn from our really detailed solutions. Before you spend 20-30k on a coaching, try Afterboards ka 3 topic tests. Solve questions, this is how you learn.
Hey, it's Afterboards.